Christian Anarchist here with a video reviewing one Bible verse that has been abused by plenty of people. That is 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 1, which says, "Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren." Many false teachers have seen this and will use it to defend the notion that because they are old, they cannot be rebuked or corrected on their false teachings. Meaning, if a 20 to 30-something-year-old man were to rebuke or correct Joel Osteen, who is 54 at the moment, he could just simply say, "I'm your elder. You can't rebuke me for what I preach. Read your Bible, son." The same can be done by people like T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar, who are also other members of the heretical prosperity gospel movement. Now, we will examine the verse in detail to show you that this verse does not mean you are forbidden from rebuking people older than you. So the first issue is to look at whether or not the verse actually says we can't rebuke people, period, or rebuking with conditions. While the King James Version does not translate it in accuracy, other modern translations say rebuke harshly or sharply rebuke. Why do they use this translation? Well, the Greek word used here is epilesio, and the word differs with another Greek word that's been translated as rebuke in the Bible, that is elecho. So while the Thayer's Greek lexicon just simply says that they both mean to rebuke, scholarly commentaries and New Testament Greek commentaries indicate that epilepso refers to rebuking in a sharp and harsh tone. For example, the Jameson Fawcett Brown commentary that is co-authored by 3 different scholars at that time say, quote, "The word translated rebuke is translated too softly. It should be rebuke not too roughly, as appears by the opposite phrase, and indeed the word properly signifies to beat or lash. Rebuke him not, but with a decent respect to his age." Then the Cambridge Bible Commentary says, "The Greek for rebuke, occurring only here in the New Testament, is a strong word implying roughness and sharpness." Furthermore, Meyer's Greek New Testament commentary notes this word, quote, "only occurring here properly means strike upon, then scold, make violent reproaches." So as we see, we must realize it's not about simple rebuke. The rebuke is that of being harsh and sharp. Thus, Galatians chapter 6 verse 1 explains how rebuke should be handled amongst the church, especially the elderly. However, there are times for harsh rebuke, like when Paul harshly rebuked Peter in Galatians and Ananias in Acts chapter 23. Anyways, the ESV study notes show that verse 1 of chapter 5 does not prohibit the correcting of an older man, but teaches that such correction should be done respectfully. And John Gill comments saying that the following quote here, this is what I'll let you read, but he says that even the Arabic manuscripts that they have during that time period, it would read and translate to "do not strike an elder" instead of simply rebuke. This helps us understand the context a bit, as he even notes that you are to be gentle, not sharp and aggressive. Back to the verse. We must understand how to rebuke if we can't rebuke harshly to the elderly men. Instead, we should rebuke them as if they were our fathers. That's what entreat him as a father means in the text. The word used is parakaleo, which means to exhort, according to Thayer's lexicon. And to conclude on this, John Calvin, one of the great reformers, comments by saying, quote, "The apostle enjoins him to reprove elder persons as parents, and he even employs the milder term exhort." So the verse is basically telling us to not rebuke an older person harshly or aggressively, but rather to respectfully reprove them and exhort them of their false teachings in the same way you would to your father if you were to find him in error. To do it lovingly and kindly. Imagine this. You catch your father shooting up heroin or snorting cocaine and is slowly becoming an addict. If you were to be a witness to this and you had time with him, would you be a jerk and just shout angrily at him to stop while calling him names? Or would you rather just offer him an exhortation to simply stop because you love him as a father and want him to be in good health so that he can be a good father and a husband to his family by staying alive? I hope you know which one is the correct answer. So, simply put, the verse doesn't protect the elderly or people older than you from correction or rebuke, but rather it protects them from harsh rebuke. They still have to have a rebuke regardless. but it has to still be soft-toned. This has been The Christian Anarchist. Have a good day.